The Wednesday week is sponsored by the Riverside Cafe, new outside bar now open on match days.
There's a chance here, a great save by Turner from McClare. Might come a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Rexman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble with saving that.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, and with me on the line, first of all, we have Mr. Marriott. Jamesy, how the devil are you?
Do you know what? I'm fine, but how are you? Because you sound poorly. You sound like you're at death's door.
You have to feel sorry for me today. You have to say, oh, poor Lord Hay.
All together.
Like
Oh.
Do you need a hot toddy?
So weird.
You've heard of...
Anyone got any Calpol?
Well, I've got...
Lord, is it Lord Flu?
It's
Have
Lord
you contracted Lord Flu?
I've got Lord Flu, and it's not very good. Poor Jeeves has worked far too hard trying to keep me better just so I can speak to you chaps this evening, and I tell you what, it feels chuffing awful. But if I can soldier on, I'm sure everybody else can. But no, it's a pleasure to have James on the line. Of course, we heard in the background there, Miss Victoria Wood. How the devil are you, my darling?
Hello, my lord. I'm all right, thank you. Are you?
Well, no, I'm not. But
oh, Christ.
We've covered.
Oh,
Ken.
Bloody hell. Have you stubbed your
Fudgy,
toe?
you'll be... I'm sorry, I just can't advance this. Sorry. Fudgy, oh
God.
boy, how the devil are you?
Well, I'm all right. You're making me ill listening to you. It's like an episode of Sesame Street. This one's brought to you by Benadryl and Calpol.
And Vermigil.
Vermigil. No, that's for something else. That's for a more yeast infection-based problem.
I've certainly not got one of those, oh boy. And what kind of chuffed up Sesame Street did you watch when you were little, Fudgy? Oh, me, that sounds terrible.
yeah. It was some niche porn I was watching. You know what I mean?
Mr. Davies, oh boy, how the devil are you?
I'm considerably better than you, but having spent the whole day at some place the other side of town in S2, I'm feeling a little bit dirty. So
Have you got swine flu?
Yeah, so I need to kind of just like get in the shower and just scrub and scrub and scrub and scrub. That's how I feel this evening.
Well, we've got just a chap to do that for you, Mr. David O'Bean. Eddie's back. Eddie, how are you? Oh boy.
Hey, you know what? I will scrub any of you happily. It would be an honour. And you know what? And it would go on a special edition of Sesame Street, that, I think.
I'm clocking off as we speak, Ed.
After 9 o'clock.
I've just got visions of something being released on Twitter of Eddie scrubbing Rich with a Brazzers logo in the corner. You know what I mean?
Would not be the first time. Would not be the first time.
In the back of the fake taxi.
I'm sure I don't know what any of you dirty chaps are talking about. But how nice it to have us all here, all of the weekers, all in one place, all at once. It's just chuffing marvellous, isn't it?
Well, we're all fair weather fans, aren't we, Lord H? That's what it is. We've all turned up now because we're in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Well, hang on. How many of us have got tickets for the massive away leg in Huddersfield? Because I'm not being funny. I'll put it out there. I've thought about it this evening, and I reckon this is the first serious, big, important game for Sheffield Wednesday in the last 25 years that I've not got tickets for. I'm missing it.
You've not got tickets? You told me you could get me a ticket. What's going on, Edward?
You know what? Okay, call me an idiot. Okay, you know when people say he's an abusive boyfriend, you're in an abusive relationship, you need to leave him, and people say no, you don't understand him. He's really kind. He wouldn't lie to me. Well, the Sheffield Wednesday ticket office lied to me today. I don't know whether they did it to me on purpose or whether it was just an innocent mistake. But
maybe that's why. Maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe that was their entire plan, was to stop you going to Huddersfield away.
Was this the SWFC ticket office or tickets?
Yeah. You know what? Hey, I tell you what, open shout out on the podcast now. If you are behind the @SWFC ticket account, I'm not going to say spoof account because it could still be the club. It could be Chancery just messing with us. Come forward. There are unlimited pints for you from me because you have made my life so much happier reading your replies to people's tweets, even though I didn't get tickets for the Huddersfield away game.
I actually feel a bit sorry for Lee Brown. Now, Lee's a regular listener to the podcast and has been for a number of years. And it was his ticket, it was his response that went viral, wasn't it? Did you see that? Where I think Lee had sent a genuine request.
That was my tweet of the week, Fudge. What are you doing?
Sorry, have I just jumped quite a large gun there? Is that what it is?
You've started.
Yeah, well, sod it. I'm not even
Finish, go on.
But yeah, Lee had tweeted, what address are you going to send it to? And I think the response from SWFC ticket said, no, we just pick an address at random and send it there, which then went viral across those those knobhead accounts where football away days and footy accumulators and all that sort of crap, and then there was one guy who tried to claim fame to the thing. I think it was a Barnsley fan, wasn't it? Said, "Oh, when somebody steals your idea."
He's got like 14 followers. This one got 17,000 retweets, and it's like Barnsley fans are like, "Oh, anyone but him, anyone but him."
My idea.
Shut up.
Right, so before we destroy everything with this positive news, let's have a little chat about the Fulham game, shall we, boys and girls? Because as we probably expected, there was quite a few changes made, weren't there? I think we all more or less expected. I know there was some people on social medias maybe bestowing the benefits of keeping the team the same and smashing Fulham and carrying on. But do you think after watching the game we did the right thing? Or should I say Carlos did the right thing?
Them sugar cubes, my lord, they have officially dropped. We don't have to worry now. You can all have a Sweetex. It's fine. Now we can build up 3. 3 isn't too big to build. That is fine. I'm happy with that. Let's concentrate now. It needed to happen. Needed to break not a curse, but it almost
the sugar cube mountain.
For like 6 games, it felt like an absolute buzz, and then after a while, it felt like any minute now this is gonna fuck up, and we are gonna be absolutely screwed. Wouldn't you rather it happen on Sunday when neither of us had all to play for? We played our B team, which, to be fair, is a bloody good team, despite it being our B team. So happy days. We're back. We're back now. We can pick up 1 sugar cube, put it level for Sunday, and then we build. We build and we build and we build. And by the time we're at the top of the Premier League, it'll be as high as my house, that you'll be able to see North Stand.
Hang on, according to your maths, you can only build it to 6. It can't go higher than 6. If it gets to 6, you've got to knock it down.
In Premier League, James, it don't matter. If it's in Premier League, you can build it as high as you want. I'll catch a flight to Spain for it.
It's different rules in the Premier League. I'm trying to keep up with this. I'm not sure I particularly understand it.
We get 3D full-length players on Match of the Day in the Premier League. You don't get that in Channel 5, do you?
Yeah, people are calling it the £200 million game. That's gone up 100 million in the last 5 years. That's because of the amount of sugar cubes you've got to buy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I was a little disappointed with it, to be fair. And the major thing I was disappointed was Matthias. That getting sent off. I just thought it was a silly thing to do, and that probably cost us the result. To be fair, it would end up a draw, I think, for that if it wasn't for that. Because we were just chasing shadows after he went, and it just disappointed me about it. That's his chance, and then he goes and gets himself sent off for a silly foul.
Putting it out there now.
But do you think it was a red card?
Yes.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that his last ever game for us?
Yeah. Of course it is.
It's got to be, hasn't it? With that sort of attitude, it's got to be. That is like walking into the office on a Friday afternoon and everyone being all chilled and just going in and taking a shit in the middle of the office, isn't it? It is like, totally. It is just ultimately screwing.
How the hell did you find out about that? I thought that'd be... After 5 years, they said that was taken off my employment record.
Yeah, but it is. That is really, really poor showing. And the thing is, from the minute he touched the ball in the first minute of the game, he was so desperate to do stuff with it. And he just let that get carried away, didn't he? He was just like a kid on heat. He was just determined that he was going to win everything. And you can't win everything by breaking someone's legs in half. It just doesn't work. So that, for me as a fan who, yeah, all right, I hadn't paid the 40 quid that a lot of people had on the day. But for me, that's just poor showing that. That was your opportunity to prove your place next season. And do you know what? You can sod off now. I'm not bothered. Go and join Blackburn.
He was hanging by a thread, wasn't he? Even if he'd have come out and had an unbelievable game and set up 3 goals, he still was going to be on the outside looking in. So I would be amazed if we ever see him in a Wednesday shirt again. And that's not because he's unprofessional and it was stupid getting sent off, because it was. Just because, to be honest, if he hadn't have played, or if he had played and not done anything particular, he would still be gone. So
there's worse players that could have got sent off on Sunday than him.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I'd gone down to get beers for several of the members of the Wednesday week team.
I was just waiting for my beer.
Yeah, so I didn't see the incident until it was played again on the monitors. What I saw first was the red card, and my instinctive reaction was, shit, not Hutch, shit, not Hutch, shit, not Hutch.
Yeah.
And when it was Matthias, honestly, it was like it could have been one of their players sent off as far as I was concerned. It did not matter.
It did throw the game for us, though, didn't it? It did mean that it was kind of over as a contest, because they didn't play as weakened a team as we did. And in actual fact, we certainly weren't terrible, were we? We put in a half decent performance. It wasn't as bad as the game that can't be mentioned at the end of last season, which was absolutely dire. It was
Which one was that, James? Which one was that?
It was.
Go on, James.
Well, seeing as you asked,
Was that Fulham away?
what I'm talking about is Wolves away last season. It was Fulham at home. It was Fulham at home this time around. No, seriously,
James,
guys, I've got to hold my hands up. It's my fault. Because I thought, right, this game doesn't matter.
It is.
Let's get the hoodoos out of the way.
Do you know what pisses me off, James? Is last week you promised you wouldn't do this, and you did it.
I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Don't make
said,
stuff up. Don't make stuff up, you big lying cowbag. That's not true at all. No.
You said you weren't going to do it again. You did.
Right.
You promised.
No, I thought, but I've got to break the hoodoo. So I wore the trainers that I was talking about that we've lost every time that I wore them.
Yeah.
I wore the hat. I wore the hat that I've not seen us win in, and I also wore the Wednesday shirt that I wore to the playoff final last season. I thought I'll wear all 3, and then if we beat Fulham, at least I know the hoodoo's gone. Well, we didn't, so they're in the bin. There we go.
Do you know what I did when I got home? When I got home from the match on Sunday, I'd worn the white third strip, and I took it off and said to Paula, "I'm not wearing that again this season." That's it. That's done with this season now for me. It's too much bad luck in that shirt.
That's a bold claim with so much of the season to go, isn't it?
Yeah. 3
Right, that's it. I'm not wearing that again this season, even though season's over. I'm done.
I think there were some positives to be taken out of the game as well. I thought Kieran Lee was absolutely immense, wasn't he?
He was. And I don't think any of us can argue that the main first team players that played were both of them, whatever you want to say.
Who's the other?
They were good. There was...
Oh, Jordan Rhodes, Kieran Lee.
Jordan Rhodes, Kieran Lee.
That's about it, isn't it?
They were great. Let's not get a fine, James. Let's lie about this. Jordan Rhodes, Kieran Lee, Matthias, Samido, they were all brilliant. Our main first team players. Let's not go fine.
There was Hutch.
There was Hutch, yeah. But, I think most of them were told, stand back, and same as Fulham were probably told, to be fair, because everybody stood back. There was no sort of real urgency to the game. It's a bit like Leyton Orient the other week when, ref called it off and might as well kick it about a bit. There was no sort of urgency until there was a goal. Nobody was bothered, were they? Nobody was. And none of us in the crowd were. I think we were all kind of just there just to see it out, I think, from both sides. And fair play to them.
It was so end of term, though, wasn't it? To the point where I even brought some board games in. It felt like the last day of term. Not even wearing uniform. Brought some board games in. Yeah, no, I had
pie face at half time.
Yeah, but I had Test match cricket. Ian Botham's Test match cricket. I was playing that, which was fantastic.
I think Mr. Winnall was trying rather hard, wasn't he? I mean, I thought his goal was great, and I think he was trying to show what he can do, because he has been rather left out of things just recently, hasn't he? So I think he did push a little bit, maybe to give Carlos some food for thought.
I love that kid. I think he tries so hard. Yes, he might not be prolific. Well, no, why isn't he prolific? He's played how many games and scored, is it 3 goals now? 4 goals? 3. And do you know what? He really does try. He's like a modern day Dave New.
No. Let's not be mean to him. There's no need to be nasty. I think Mr. Winnall's fantastic. I just think he is, unfortunately, below the pecking order at the moment. And I really do think that he's trying to dig it out. I mean, when he scored, you see the passion when he scores. He knows what he wants. And I think he really is trying to sort of bust back into the team. But it's going to be difficult for him with the quality, the amount of quality strikers we've got at the minute. And it's a bit
Is it, though? Because we've not got Hooper, have we?
Well,
there's no hoops.
Hoops.
Does he stand a chance? I'd give him a shot. I don't see why not. I'm going to make a rhyme every time.
One time.
Why not? You know, he's a grafter, and you can play him behind the front two if you need to. You really can. And like I'd mix it up a bit. Like, why not? Like, we have got. Do you know what? Like, I'm not going to go into it yet, but I had an interview tonight where I was talking about Sheffield Wednesday. I won't mention it yet. I don't want the autographs flying in or whatever.
Like a job interview?
But, no, on radio, on wireless.
On
wireless. But I've got a lot of love for that guy. I really do think that he has our best intentions at heart. And I think he had a really rough time at whatever they're called. So he's, a footballer who can possibly come really, really good for us. And I don't think he gets enough credit for what he does. And for the games that he's played and the goals that he's scored and the positions he's got into to get those goals, I think he's spot on, for 500 grand.
Oh, it's absolutely
brilliant.
Paul's his top scorer.
Yeah, my favourite is that he finished top scorer for the season. And potentially as well, Lucas João can get relegated and promoted in the same season. Yeah. An amazing stat. I love that one as well.
So before we move on, I think one player who hasn't really featured this year, especially not because we haven't had the kind of cup run that we had last year, Joe Wildsmith getting his chance to really show what he can do.
Absolutely.
And you know what? He showed that he can hack it in this division against a very good team. And I know we've said that neither team were really going for it, but actually when that first goal went in, suddenly it was all hands to the pumps, wasn't it? And he made 2 or 3 really, really decent saves. And I don't know what the idea is for Joe next season, whether what he thinks, whether he feels like he wants to go and become a number 1 somewhere, but it bodes really, really well because he has come on again, another step change from where he was last year as understudy to Kieran Westwood. So, big shout out to Joe Wildsmith in a game that really meant nothing. I think he showed, that he can do a job for us.
The one bit that stood out for me with Joe was when late in the first half, I think it was, when Chris Martin clattered him big time. Chris Martin kind of rolled around a bit on the floor, and Joe just got up and carried on. I thought it was brilliant. It was a pretty dirty tackle, I thought, but he just got on with it and shrugged it off.
On one final note, Chris Martin, right? He's been out for what, 4 games? He was out before last weekend, was it? I could run 10k before him. Jesus Christ! How much has he eaten in those 3 or 4 games? He was enormous. He looked so unfit.
To be fair, when you're touring with Coldplay, you eat a lot of junk.
I was looking for an angle there.
You want. I just think that's a bit harsh on him, to be honest.
I was going to go with. I was going to go with. He's never been the same since Gwyneth Paltrow gave him the shit.
That's where I was going for as well. That's what I was thinking.
On the flip side to that, now top of my shopping list for the summer, should I be appointed head of recruitment at Sheffield Wednesday, would be Tom Kearney, who I thought was by far and away the best player on the pitch and one of the best players that I've seen at Hillsborough this season. He was absolutely phenomenal. Fantastic footballer. I can understand why Fulham fans say that he's single-handedly kind of took them towards the playoffs, because he was. I don't think I've seen a player that's able to be in all the different parts of the pitch that he was, seemingly at the same time. He was phenomenal.
Tom Kearney seems to have topped nearly every chart that's going for the position that he plays in terms of yards covered, passes leading to this, and tackles in here and all. He seems to have topped every one.
One other thing about the Fulham game as well, before we move on, which I'm sure that we'll all echo, is just a big well done to all the Wednesday fans for joining in the minutes applause for Nigel Goodinson, which was brilliant to see everyone kind of getting involved in that and getting joined in with that. I thought that was a very fitting kind of send off for him.
Here's a question. Where would you find all of the following in one place? Chairs, tables, beer, Vic, James, more beer, Dick Yow, Eddie, more beer, and the rest of the Wednesday week gang. That's right, it's the Riverside Cafe's new outside bar. All of your favourite lagers, ciders, soft drinks and hand pump ales are now available outside. Come and see the gang and give it a try. The Riverside Cafe's new outside bar. Now open on match days.
Right, then, ladies and gents, let's crack on with the other Wednesday news from this week, shall we? First things first, under-23s have done an absolutely chuffing sterling job, haven't they, boys and girls? Again, another fantastical win against Millwall 2-1 throughout the week, which sees them through to their own playoff semi-final, if you like. It's going to be against Hull.
It's the final. It's not the semi-final.
Oh, sorry. I apologise. The playoff final. I am sorry. That was the semi-final. Just played, wasn't it? And of course, as we said, I know it's a team game. Mr. Hurst scored 2 goals. And do you guys have any idea of how many that is he scored this season?
817, isn't it?
34 goals for the season for young George Hurst so far, and he's obviously still got 1 game left.
Sign him up.
34. How amazing is that? 34
10 grand
goals.
a week.
Jordan who? Who?
I've only got one question with regards to this. Well, that's a lie. I've got about 4 questions with regards to this. So, am I right in thinking that they finished top of the league?
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, I wondered that too.
It's the top of the league.
The playoff semi-final. The playoff semi-final was just a 1-leg game that was at Hillsborough.
Yes.
And the final is also just 1 game that's at Hillsborough.
Yeah.
But if Charlton had won their semi-final, then we'd have been playing Charlton at Charlton.
It's whoever essentially finished above gets the right to play the game at home, if you like.
Right.
Who is more massive, basically, innit?
Okay. So, if we win the playoff final, we get promoted?
No, they're just the best under-23s team in the country, if you like.
It's like a Northern Southern League, etc.
Yeah.
But there was a whole Division 2 aspect to it. At the end of this, don't we get promoted? So we play against, Man United and Arsenal and fucking Blackburn. Do we not play against all them this season?
As far as I understand it, and again, I'm not going to claim to be an expert on this, but that area, if you like, is governed by the facilities. So each academy has a specific rating, and those ratings put you in a specific league, but it's a regional league.
It just seems a bit backwards, though, because you kind of just want to go, well, what are you playing for, lads? You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're playing an academy, if you're playing Man United Academy, for instance, which clearly shove a lot more money into their youth system than we do, it's an unfair competition, if you like.
I understand that, but if you've got a team that's better than the other teams in the league, like Sheffield Wednesdays is right now, they're just going to piss it every year, surely. I mean, what competitive competition are they going to come up against? I mean, they're just going to win every week. There's no oomph there. There's no, do you know what I mean?
Is this all done on like grading of the academy and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Because our academy
absolutely.
got upgraded, didn't it? Which is, do you move up and down the leagues on the grading of your academy rather than who wins the league and who loses, who finishes bottom and stuff like that? Right, okay. I asked that just because I seem to think that there's a lot of people on Twitter getting very excited about we're in this playoff final, and yet I don't think anyone actually understands what the hell it means, and I'm one of them.
No.
So we won the regional league, if you like, and then obviously played Millwall, who were the equivalent for the Southern League, as far as my understanding goes, and then the Hull was, I believe, I could possibly be wrong, the next level up, if you like.
Is it like basketball? It's a top 8 at the end. In England, play the playoffs to win a trophy, basically. Is it?
Ice hockey's like that, isn't it? Ice hockey, you can finish top of the league, but it still doesn't mean anything because you still got to go through the playoffs after that.
Precisely. Absolutely.
All right. Oh well, it's a lot clearer now. I'm glad I asked.
So it's a good thing anyway. Whatever else happens, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing because it's only showing the club as a whole in a wonderful light as well. And it really does. I know we've said it a million times, but the work that's been done in the academy has just been immense, hasn't it? It really has been great. So if you do fancy a bit of a fun evening out, hopefully we shall be playing Hull in the final on Friday night. I think tickets about £4 or something ridiculous like that.
£3.
If you £3, better.
Free if you're a season ticket holder.
Or free if you're a season ticket holder. So if you've got a spare Friday night, pop down to Hillsborough and cheer the chaps on.
If I wasn't, if myself and Vic weren't spending an evening at the great Nigel Short's 37th birthday, then we'd be there. It's just what do we do? Go on Nigel's 37th or go and watch the under 23? So
I probably wouldn't. To be fair, it's a long way to travel.
Yeah.
I'd definitely be there with the under 23s all night long.
Yeah, we know about that. Yeah.
Especially, we've got such a good record against Hull in playoff finals, so it's a given.
Yeah.
Right, so on to the various plaudits that we've been passed on towards the end of the season as well. First things first, Carlos has won Manager of the Month, which has in the past been somewhat of a pain in the bum, hasn't it? But hopefully, we've seen off a lot of hoodoos, as we've mentioned this season so far. Hopefully, this will be one we can see off as well.
Well, it's not, is it? We lost.
It's already done. We lost, so it's sorted. We got rid of it.
Didn't Dave Jones already win the Manager of the Month the year we got promoted from the Fulham League as well?
Yes.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he won. He won Netball Dad of the Month as well, I think.
That's not like you at all, OP.
Obviously on the podcast.
But no, absolutely fantastic news for Carlos. And of course, in this Carlos way, he mentioned that it's not just his award, it's for the staff and everything else, which I suppose is right. But a nice little plaudits for Carlos. Other little plaudits we've had as well. Fudge has been granted, shall we say, the EFL Player of the Season as well, which is really, really interestingly good.
What's going on with you tonight? You're getting everything wrong.
What are you doing?
£4 to get in on Friday.
Lord Hillsborough's drunk.
EFL Player of the Season.
Drunk. Log off.
That's knockoff.
He's done bollock all this season, to be fair, hasn't he? He's just had a good month. He's not going to win Player of the Season. Bloody hell.
EFL Man of the Month.
Listen,
you are
Stephen
ill, aren't you?
Fletcher,
Poor old
Stephen
Lord H.
Fletcher needed a positive because he'd been dropped as the spokesperson for Advanced Hair Studio in favour of Shane Warne. So
now he is officially Lord Hillsborough's Player of the Season.
yeah, which is
we should get him a trophy.
Yeah.
I apologise, ladies and gentlemen. You're quite right. You are quite right. It is Player of the Month rather than Player of the Season. I apologise, ladies and gentlemen, which I still think is fantastic. I mean, he has had a very, very good month, hasn't he?
Yeah, if you remember, this is the award that a Wednesday player won pretty much every month last season because it's one that's voted for by fans. So I think that's why he won. I'm not even sure that he'll win our Player of the Month, will he?
No. I think we're as bad as Arsenal fans when it comes to an online poll, aren't we?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't take it away from the chap. I think he's been marvellous, and I think he's been wonderful, and I think it's thoroughly, thoroughly deserved. And I'm sure no Wednesday fans voted for that at all. And, of course, going on to the Sheffield Wednesday Player of the Season, it is Westwood that has
Westwood!
Dropped a bomb.
Brap, pow, pow, pow. The big dog has won Player of the Year.
I think that's what I've got to say about that.
Enjoy that for Joby. But again, we spoke about it last week, but he was my vote. I know you guys had different ideas, but it was my vote for Player of the Season. It was a much, much, much closer run thing this season, though, wasn't it? It really was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was we talked about this, didn't we, last week? And I think a couple of us agreed on Hutch were going to be our choice, but then beyond that, I think everyone kind of had a different idea. Do you see how close it was between Westwood and Hutch? There was something like 0.02% of the vote in it between the two of them, so incredibly close. But I don't think we can really complain about it. I said earlier to you guys before we started recording, in some ways, I kind of feel like Westwood, his season hasn't been as good this season as he's actually been in previous years. But I think elsewhere really well. There's
that's a good thing, though, isn't it?
I just mean in the past we've had really big kind of standout players. We've had phenomenal seasons, like outfield players that have overtaken him. Whereas this season, I think there's been a lot of players that have been all right, but there's not been any one standout outfield player, has there? Which kind of allows Kieran to maybe get the credit that maybe he's not got in previous seasons. So it's fair dues.
Absolutely.
Westwood!
Rap.
Brilliant. Love it. Absolutely love it. Right, other little bits and bobs. James, I believe you had some stats on the wonderful new average attendance at Hillsborough for this season.
Yeah, obviously it was a full house against Fulham, or as full a house as we can have these days, which pushed our average attendance for the season to 27,129, 27129, which is our highest attendance since we're in the Premier League, highest attendance since 97-98, so nearly 20 years, which I think is brilliant, and testament really to how good a season it's been overall, that we get the highest attendance for such a long time. So, yeah, good stuff.
Is that our best attendance since the Premier League years then, yeah?
Yeah. It was 99, wasn't it?
Average attendance, yeah.
Yeah.
Average,
average. Yeah. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? To be fair. And I know football's changed, and I know that there are more people watching football now than ever before, blah, blah, blah. But I think that probably approaches, and I don't have the figures, I think that probably approaches the average attendance that we had when we were at the top end of the Premier League in the early 90s, and we were probably the fifth or sixth most supported club in the country. So, yeah, it's brilliant.
Do you know what?
I'm just having a little look back through the attendance chart, if you like, and it looks as though the highest average attendance for a season was the 92 season, which I think we'd all expect, wouldn't we? Which was 29,500. But yeah, after then, 93, 27.2, 94, 27.19. So yeah, it really is right up there with sort of our highest attendances. It's fantastic, and it just goes to show what Mr. Chansiri and Carlos have done at the club to make people want to go and sit their bums down at Hillsborough and watch some football again.
And everybody complains about match day ticket prices. There we go.
Is it really showing that if the product is there, then we'll pay to go and watch it?
Book them and they will come.
Show them something worth showing and they will come. But no, brilliant, absolutely fantastic, and hopefully if we've got those attendances back, we'll see them in the Premier League next year again. It'd be bloody marvellous. Right then, ladies and gents, so there has been some news stories knocking around that personally I don't really want to talk about.
Oh, it's awkward. It's so awkward. Oh my God.
Wind him.
Oh, we're not going to get anything from the Star, are
Hold
we?
him back. Hold him back.
Lordy.
Long gone, right? I've worked in PR for 11 years and I have never had a client screw me over with the journalistic community as I have had in the last week. Oh my God. Well, you can kiss goodbye for your press releases. You can kiss goodbye to the mention in the Star Online, all thanks to a certain Lord of S6.
Don't get chuffed. I'm not here to... I don't mean to be rude, and I didn't mean to be rude in the slightest. I'm not here to bow down to the press or anything at all like that. Not at all. Somebody's got to ask questions of the question askers, and that's all I was doing. I was just asking a few questions. And personally, I think the press have an important role to play in a playoff push, and I think negative nonsense news stories that don't really need to be told.
Hang on, whoa! It's not a
Shouldn't
nonsense
really be.
news story at all, is it? That's. I think that's very dismissive. I think it's absolutely fair dues. I'm leaning towards being Team Star on this one.
Yeah, but you've been wrong about things
Team
in the past
James.
as well, there, James.
Lord H needs to sort you out, Lord H.
The only reason I'm speaking about this now is because I know you guys want to speak about it. So I'm trying to be polite and respectful. So if you want to waffle on about this crap, if you guys
we all want to say you were wrong, Lord H. It's just you, like, you know what I mean?
not in the slightest. I shall not just sit meekly and quietly if I think that something's a little bit iffy. My main argument with that particular story, if you like, is that the next day the same story was essentially reprinted, saying that fears had grown and nothing else had actually changed. So in my eyes, again, it just pointed towards a nonsense. But if you chaps would like to discuss this very, very important negative nonsense, then please, by all means, do so.
Right, so who wants to chip in now and know for a fact they're going to be blocked on Skype for the rest of this season?
I've not blocked anybody, my darling. I've not blocked anybody from doing anything.
Speak
As
now
I
or
mentioned,
forever hold your place on the podcast.
if you, I'm not here to censor you, my darling. Apart
You're
from
becoming the Donald Trump of the podcast, and you're going to be sacking us in the morning.
Start replying to fake news.
Listen, next week, this is Lord H. Everybody else has been sacked. It's just me.
It's just me now. But listen, all right, let me nail my colours firmly to the fence in the middle, where, yes, I don't believe that the article was nonsense, but then again, I also agree with you, Lord H, to the extent of it was done a little bit clickbaity, wasn't it, in terms of the headline, and that's, I'm assuming that's probably the majority of why it got your arse up.
There was also a wonderful story from the Star today about how a Huddersfield Town player thinks that Huddersfield Town can beat Sheffield Wednesday in the playoffs in the Star, which confused me no end as well.
Yeah, it's both sides of the coin, isn't it? You want it, it's a tough news.
I'll grab the Huddersfield Star or whatever the job it's called.
Right.
Yeah,
Or the Examiner.
It's a difficult area,
They're too
isn't
busy
it?
printing stories about how we've got a 40,000 stadium and have only given them 2,000 because we're bastards, even though all four teams in the playoffs have only given each other 2,000 away tickets. Look, guys, think back to a year ago, right? When we knew when Carlos first came in, it was a 1-year deal. His first season was a 1-year deal. The back end of last season, it was revealed that he'd signed a new contract. And yet, for the first time that any of us could ever remember, the length of a manager's contract was not disclosed. It was a secret. And we talked about it on the podcast, and we all said, it's a bit strange that they've not announced how long it's for. We didn't think anything more into it other than that, just that it was a little bit odd. And then at some point, it became common knowledge. I think it was said by Carlos, but I can't remember, that it was a 3-year contract. And now we get to the end of the season, and it's revealed that he's out of contract in the summer. Now, there are questions to be asked there, aren't there, about why wasn't it announced at the start as to what the length of his contract was? How can a manager's contract be so unusual that they decide we'd better not announce the details of it to the supporters? Secondly, why would the manager himself then announce it, reveal it's a 3-year deal, and then 9, 10, 11 months down the line actually say, well, actually it was only 1 year? Like, there's something not right about it, and that's why I've got no problem at all with the Star asking the question, because I think the question needs to be asked.
Is the timing a bit out there, maybe?
Well, I don't know. You can't. It's not for a journalist who works for a newspaper to say, well, actually, I'm not going to ask this question now because it might disrupt the team's plans. If it was me, if I worked for the Sheffield Star, then I'd probably think, actually, I'm probably not going to ask this now because it might disrupt the plans. Because I'm a Wednesday fan. All right? I'm a Wednesday fan first.
I don't mean disrupted.
And my job would therefore come second. But for someone that's a journalist first, and I talk as someone obviously that's kind of worked in that industry for half my life, so I'm probably a little bit defensive. But if that is your job, then you've got to do what your job demands. And because Carlos himself had done interviews in the Portuguese press where he said he's hopeful that he'll get a new contract in the summer, that meant that it became into the public domain this week. Therefore, it's got to be asked.
If there's a relevance to it, If they had just come out of it out of the blue, I don't think it's completely irrelevant right now. But if he's mentioned it in the Portuguese press, then fair play.
Am I the only one that when James started that rant with, if we go back to this time last year, am I the only one who thought he was going to start talking about Wolves away?
Do you know what? I think it was just before Wolves away. I think it was just before Wolves away when he revealed that he signed a new contract.
But listen, right, I think what happened was, and I think if you think about it logically, this is probably what happened. He was probably told, if we get automatic, you've got a 3-year deal. Nailed on, no worries. You get a payout, whatever. Because let's be honest, if any of us sign a contract, if you go and work somewhere in a 2-year contract, you're not guaranteed that money. Like, if you get sacked halfway through, you're not guaranteed that money. But in football, you are. So he's probably being told, like, Premier League, 3-year contract, automatic promotion, 3-year contract. However, if we don't hit that, we'll reevaluate in the summer. And I think that's what's happened. And I think that is completely and utterly fair enough. It's like a performance improvement plan, isn't it? It's like it's been put on a pip.
This isn't about why that might be the case, because I'm not arguing with that in the slightest. But if that's the case, why did the club not just say, well, it's a 1-year deal, or it's a 3-year deal, or say something about it?
It was neither,
it's not whether it's right or
wrong.
We'll just say it's a 1-year deal, and then if they extend it when we get promoted, then extend it. The fact that we're even having this conversation is because a bad decision was made in terms of how to play the PR on the deal.
If the fans know that the club are saying openly it's next year or never, that's going to be counterproductive. So it's a judgment call. I don't think the club have got it wrong, but I do think that the journalists have a right to ask what the situation is now. Even if that does destabilise the club, they're not there to be fans. They're not there to be loyal to any club in Sheffield football. They're there to be journalists. I could talk about how I rate Dom Howson as a journalist, and you know what, he's a good journalist, and he has his own agenda, and that's absolutely fine. But what I'll never say is, sorry, Dom, you shouldn't ask difficult questions because I expect you to be a Wednesday fan. That's not what an independent journalist should be.
So am I okay to ask questions then?
No, shut up.
So I'm not allowed to ask questions of the question
coverage as possible from the local press. Do you want this podcast, my lord? Do you want your salary? Do you want your salary?
We do this for free. You're not making any money from this.
But that's fair. We're saying it's all right for the press to ask difficult questions of Carlos. Therefore, it's got to be all right for Lord Hillsborough to ask difficult questions of the press. It's a two-way street. Yes. It's got to be fine, and I very much doubt that Dom or Chris or anyone would hold anything against you in the same way that we can't hold anything against them. Whether you're celebrating a birthday, a wedding or anniversary, maybe you've passed your driving test, or you've landed a new job. Well, whatever your reason for a party, the Riverside Cafe is the perfect location on Catch Bar Lane overlooking Hillsborough Stadium. To inquire about hiring us for your function, call 07989 856 054 or 0114 232 6121.
Right then, ladies and gents, so we've got 2 incredibly exciting games to come. Never mind the tickets, never mind the situations with contracts, never mind anything else. Let's concentrate on the football, shall we? Because this is going to be tremendous, isn't it? Now, it has to be said that Wednesday have been sort of touted favourites for this leg, which is something we're all a little bit uncomfortable with, isn't it? But I certainly am. Anyway, I don't want to speak on behalf of you guys. But Huddersfield, I mean, we have beaten them twice this season. We do have a slight psychological advantage, and they didn't sort of do the Carlos thing of resting their bestest goalkeeper, and he got a red card and now won't feature in those games, will he? So
you made a great point, and I think it was the last podcast, Lord H, about teams having to come out and go for it, and there's no parking the bus now. So I think the games that happened previously are irrelevant. It's all kind of slate's clean. Whatever went past's gone now. It's kind of almost like a new mini season.
It's a derby game, isn't it? every semi-final now, it's a derby. That
Yeah,
regardless
feels
of
like
whether
that, yeah.
it's Huddersfield or Millwall or
We all know there's a difference
Leyton
between...
Orient, it's a derby. Everyone's going to put their entire team behind the game.
Yeah, we all know there's a difference between knockout football and league football. We all watch World Cup and etc. It's a different type of football, and hopefully, Carlos, being the master tactician that he is, will. I'm certainly not going to suggest how Carlos should play football, but I'm trying so hard not to be uber excited about this because I do think that we can do it, and I do think we can do it really, really well as well.
I'm not. I'm bricking it. I'm absolutely bricking it.
Well, the reason I'm bricking it is that after that video with David Wagner and Neil Warnock, Warnock has given him advice on how to
shitting it now.
You know what I mean? You can all go to Bobbins. But I don't think it's going to be a pushover at all. I think they are going to give us a game. But then again, I was twitching about Brighton. And I think we should go into this with a degree of trepidation. However, we have done the double over, but they must have learnt something from those two games, surely to God.
Yeah, stay away from Ross Wallace because he'll banter you into submission.
It doesn't count for anything, does it? Those two games don't count for anything. We'd actually probably have been better off playing Reading, who've beaten us twice this season, because then they'd have that sort of false psychological advantage because they've beaten us twice this season. It just doesn't really count for anything. I have got an interesting stat, which actually is courtesy of my mate who put me onto this. Huddersfield are the only team to ever finish in the playoffs with a negative goal difference, which is just kind of interesting in itself, but also suggests that when Huddersfield collapse, they absolutely collapse. So if we can push the right buttons and get them on the right day, we could well end up walloping them. So there we go. There's your happy thought for today. That's my positivity before I go back into my kind of slightly nervous little box over here.
Squeaky bum.
Squeaky bum.
My worry is very much, well, apart from the fact that if Wagner turns up on like a little miniature tractor and he is just channeling Warnock at all times, then that me. But no, my worry is that actually we're thinking about this too much. Is that it's clear that our secret weapon, if you will, throughout the season and last season as well, is Carlos's ability to outthink his opponent tactically. And actually, Wagner has also got the same sort of plaudits for how he has managed to get a great deal out of what on the surface looks like not a very promising squad. So it's very much about how they set up and how they adapt and how they change their system and their style of play to neutralise their opponents. We have fundamentally a better squad than Huddersfield. So if it comes down to a tactical stalemate, then actually I think we have the advantage just on pure ability. We have game changers in a way that they don't. But I think all of the things being equal, we are a better team. And so therefore we're right to be going into this confidently and knowing that we can press and push for a result in the first leg that makes the second leg a much more controllable game.
Yeah. The one player I think we shut down for them is it Moy in midfield? I thought when he came to Hillsborough he looked class. And I think if we can shut him down and stop him playing, I think we've got a good chance regardless, but, that's one of the players, I think one of their danger players I see in their side.
They've got Izzy Brown as well, who's a bit of a handful. He's a pretty decent player. The good thing is their keeper's suspended, isn't he? Because he got sent off against Cardiff.
Is it just a one game? One game.
Yeah, it's just the away leg. Whether there's anything in that, I don't know. I mean, it's obviously up to Carlos, isn't it? But whether you kind of think, well, they've got an inexperienced keeper coming in. I don't even know who their reserve keeper is actually, but I seem to think
he's conceded.
I never heard of him.
He's conceded 8 goals in 4 games in the Championship, and he's been out on loan a lot this season. But he does not inspire confidence.
You'd be tempted to think, it's Jordan Rhodes,
I think we have
assuming that he plays in place of Hooper, back at his old ground where he scored so many goals in League One and the Championship.
Law of the X.
You've got to use that to your advantage. You've got to do.
It's not just that, they have been shipping goals left, right and centre, haven't they? So we probably be better off with the old keeper back in. I do try not to get super duper whooper excited about all this kind of thing, but it's so difficult not to, isn't it? It really, really is. But
it's got to be Rhodes' moment, though, hasn't it? This has got to be his winnel.
Yeah,
this has got to be it. Yeah. He's got to prove his point. He's got to find that 10 million quid that we have forked out.
Has he already found it?
No,
he's not just about scoring goals for him, is he?
No,
but
not,
he needs that money shot, doesn't he? He needs that
isn't it?
moment. Yeah, I think Vic's right.
Yeah,
this is the time when he announces himself as a
yeah.
Absolutely. Right then, ladies and gents, that's going to bring us to an end of this week's show. Do you guys have any other little bits for the evening?
Well, a couple of bits that I was going to talk about. Firstly, just how great it is that both the home and away games have sold out, and that I don't know what the attendance will be at Hillsborough, because I know we've sold that end of the north stand that we don't normally sell. We've sold that little stupid corner of the south stand that we're not normally allowed to sell, and obviously we've sold the lower end of Leppings Lane as well. So whether it's more than the 33,000 that's supposedly our capacity, I don't know. But it'll be great to have a full house at Hillsborough next Wednesday. Eddie, I'm really sorry. I got tickets for Huddersfield away, so I'll give them a shout from you. 1 minute past 9, I was there. Refresh. Here we go, and done and sorted by 3 minutes past 9. So I will give them a bit of I'll give them the Eddie war cry as well. Do you know that we're going to be, so not the first, but certainly the second ever game in the Championship to use goal line technology as well, because they've got goal line technology for the playoff semi-finals, which is quite exciting.
It's a touchy subject. No, I don't like it.
How can you possibly not like it?
I think
how can you possibly not like goal line technology?
Because I quite like mistakes. I quite like human error on that side
even
of
if
things.
it costs us.
Like the odd offside, but a goal is a goal.
No.
Seriously, all of you. Fan of the show, Steve Basford, he spoke to me in the Wednesday Night Lounge before the Fulham game, and he said, tell Lord Hillsborough we can have no discussion about the Huddersfield game. We have to talk about goal line technology. So I'm glad it's been brought up. Steve, if you're listening, we are. So can we just say yay or nay? Literally, yay or nay from each of you. Are you in favour of goal line technology, Victoria?
Nay.
Daniel Fudge?
Of course. What are you mental?
No, say yay or nay.
Sorry,
which bit of that was difficult? Yay or nay?
Yay!
James Marriott.
1,000,000% yay.
Lord Hillsborough.
Yay.
And I also yay.
Hello.
You're not asking Rich.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
You're irrelevant. Just agree with me. It's fine.
Fuck you all then. I'll say yay when I'm asked or not.
You know what? Steve Basford also voted yay. It's very important, but it must be technologically possible to ensure that the whole of the ball has crossed the whole of the line. So, Steve, I promise you we talk about it. We have now talked about it. You can now continue to listen to the Wednesday week for the foreseeable future. Thank you.
Great stuff. And one other quick thing from me, and I feel a little bit bad here because I feel like I'm sort of stealing Vicky's thunder a little bit here.
Oh, hold on. What's going on here?
Because you were on the radio earlier today, or you were interviewed for the radio earlier today, which is going to be used in the next couple of days. I know, that's why I feel like I'm stealing your thunder a little bit. Because I'm actually going to be on the TV. I was interviewed by some TV people at Hillsborough the other day, which Eddie was supposed to be as well, but he didn't turn up. So it was just me that did it. And
car problems.
It's
my chauffeur didn't turn up.
It's
Can you
all
imagine
for
having an agreement with Eddie to do something and he's just not turning up?
Heaven
Was it
forbid.
That's all from me.
Forbid.
Bye. I'll see you at Sausage House on Twitter. See you next week. Bye.
Yeah, fondue's made. Congealing fondue.
So it was all for effectively for Sky Bet, obviously, who sponsor the championship. I apologise in advance if you find me on like a screen somewhere, but they offered me £50 Amazon vouchers to do it, so I'm easily bought.
the amount of money Sky Bet's had out of me, I expect more than the Amazon vouchers.
I think it's fantastic, yeah. I think I'm rather looking forward to it, Albin. Seeing our Mr. Marriott pop up on the TV, it'd be absolutely fantastical. Of course, Victoria, where are you? Where can people possibly hear you out there in the wide world, other than on our little bitty podcast?
Me and Fudge are on radio. We're on wireless this week, aren't we, Fudge?
We are 2 different channels as well.
I know we are mixed it up, bro.
Shut up.
Oh yeah. So I think, is it tomorrow, Fudge, that you're on wireless?
Yes, I'm on Radio Yorkshire tomorrow morning on Darren's breakfast show, which is going to be very difficult because, as we've discussed before, they're very Leeds based, aren't they? And it's going to be really difficult not to swear for one, but not to be really smug. You know what I mean? Let's go. Sorry, lads.
You need to get the word. You need to get the word bottle in. At least one.
Yeah. I was on there last week, Fudgy, Albin, and they started to talk to me about Sheffield United. So just prepare yourself, Albin, just in case.
Brilliant.
For the benefit of anyone that doesn't know when tomorrow morning is when they're listening to this, that's as in Thursday morning?
Thursday morning, circa just after 8 a.m. And I'm sorry, Vic, you give me the lead in there. What's your radio thing tomorrow, Vic?
No, you're on first, pal. That's fine.
Okay.
I, however, will be on Hallam FM. Commercial Bauer Radio. I don't know when, but a Sunday morning at some point before the playoff semi-final. Oh my God. But yeah, I went tonight to Hallam FM Studios that I have not been to since I was like 20 and worked there. It was very weird. I know. It was like 2 years ago, and I couldn't even recognise the place. I think I talk complete bollocks, to be honest.
When did no change?
I know, but I think it went all right.
Bear in mind, right, Lord Hillsborough for the last 2 years has been bemoaning that we have that little E next to us on iTunes because we F and Jeff a bit more than what we used to. And now all of a sudden, we're media savvy enough to start getting called up to Sky Bet and local bloody radio.
Star, are we? It's not going to
happen with Star.
Cool. It's because we're free, Fudgy, Albin. That's why we get on so much stuff. It's because we don't charge anything for it.
Because smoking and swearing and having sex is cool, and we do all of those things.
I just imagine you saying that with a leather jacket on, smoking a cigarette like Danny Zuko.
That's why Sky want us, because you got to be cool.
Right then, ladies and gents, that's going to bring us to an end of this week's proceedings. Victoria, my darling, if people want to find you over there on the Twitteridge, where can we do that?
Okay, my lord, if you want to find me, I am on Twitter at Victoria1867, or if you want to hear me on the radio, I am on 97.4 or 103.4, I think it is, aka Radio Hallam, aka Hallam FM. On Sunday morning before the semi-final, and you can hear my dulcet tones talking to Tom, who was beautiful on Hallam FM.
Oh, stop flirting with everybody, Victoria.
Oh,
Good Lord.
He was though. Oh, I could talk to him every week.
Eddie, Albin, where can we find you over there on Twitteridge?
So if you're in the Rotherham area, actually 104.1 FM is how you can find Hallam FM, and you can listen
before 12 on Sunday.
Victoria.
Hello.
Yeah, absolutely. So
you guys just making up frequencies now.
No, check it. I tell you what,
205.7 FM.
And you know the reason why is because that was the closest transmitter to me in North Yorkshire as a kid. So I could just about get Hallam in one corner of my bedroom when I was a kid growing up. So 104.1 crew, holla! 97.4 crew, we'd take you, yeah? We'd cut you, you know what I mean? 104 crew, that's how we do. So anyway, sorry. Brat, pal. So you could find me at compasseventjobs.com. That's slightly different from usual. That's why compasseventjobs.com are currently advertising for jobs at Sheffield United FC. So if you fancied partnering Billy Sharp up front next season, then yeah, by all means, go there. compasseventjobs.com. You can talk to my good friend Zoe Froggatt. She's lovely, but she's a pig. But she's recruiting for people who want to work at that shithole. I don't know why. I am at Sausage Arms on Twitter. Guess where I won't be? Fucking Huddersfield on Sunday. Bollocks.
Mr. Davis, oh boy, where can we get hold of you over there on Twitch?
Well, you can't find me in any radio stations because I'm not good enough for that.
You're too good for it. You're too good for it, oh boy.
But you can find me at Dickie Owl, and on Sunday even morning and afternoon, you'll probably find me in the New Barrack Tavern.
Fudgy or Bean, where can people find all the old nonsense over there on the Twitch? Or can we still find you over there on the Twitch?
At the minute you can't. My apologies for people not being able to retweet me or anything. It's because I'm currently at a tricky stage of an interview process where I'm at a fourth interview with a company. And I thought the last thing I want is people seeing my nonsense on Twitter. Do you know what I mean? Just like, me going, well, I'm all about synergy and professionalism and taking businesses forward. And then a bloke reading out, well, it said here you told Theresa May to get in the fucking bin. So which one are you? So, I've just had to go... offline. I've got to do it on the DL for a little bit. But I am at Dan Fudge. If you want to send me a request, then do that. But in the meantime, just keep it on the quiet. And don't forget to sponsor me for the Reds versus Blues as well.
Absolutely. Mr. Marriott, oh boy, where can we find you over there on the onlineage?
Do you want me to go through my radio stations, or would that be a bit? That might be a bit boring.
Might be here a while.
I have got 4 of them though, so it could take a while. So yeah, I mean, take your pick of radio stations, or you can find me on Twitter at James Marriott.
Fantastic. Of course, you can find me over there on the Twitter at Lord H. That's L0RD_H. You get all the podcast at TWWcast as well. Of course, we're on the Facebooks, on the YouTubes, and in all the usual places as well. It has been a pleasure as always, ladies and gents. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Be good, be safe, and we shall see you
real soon.
There's a chance here, a great save. A turner from McClare. Mike Hunt, a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brexman against Jones. Get in.
You could have 2 goalkeepers in there that would have trouble saving that.
That's going to bring us to an end of this week's proceedings. Victoria, my darling, if people do want to find you over there on the Twitter, Chuck Craggy, we'll just drop something else.
What's going on?
It's the generation game.
I'm dropping bombshells.
Someone's just throwing the towel in on Dan Fudge. Bloody hell.
Yeah, we're mashing this place up, fam, yeah?
It has been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
You what?
I've got to edit.
You want it?
It's like the shittest Scatman John ever.